Hi, my name is Matthew Casserly, and I work here at Yandex in the International Sales Department. Foreign companies often experience difficulty entering the Russian market or introducing new products. This is mainly due to a lack of user awareness about the products or services being offered, and contextual ads lack the elements of display advertising necessary to inform users. Yandex.Direct recently launched display campaigns, a new campaign type designed for advertisers looking to reach their target audience at the top of the sales funnel while also raising brand awareness among a broader audience. The product itself is currently available as a beta version in the Yandex.Direct interface. Let's take a more detailed look at some of the nuances involved in setting up campaigns. To begin, click on Create Campaign and select Display Campaign. If we take a look at the settings available, we can see that they are very similar to those for a regular campaign for the Yandex advertising network, but there are a few differences. You have to enter a campaign name, a start date. If you don't set another date, the campaign will start the day you create it by default, and an end date, also optional. You have the option to set up time targeting, though we recommend that you run your campaigns round the clock. Next, you should choose your display regions. We will set all of Russia. You can also disable extended geo-targeting, which is enabled by default. Extended geo-targeting allows you to make sure users who regularly spend time in your target regions see your ads even if they are currently located elsewhere. Yandex uses its own crypto technology to determine the user's regular location based on how often they have visited your selected region over the past 90 days. We'll leave extended geo-targeting enabled in our test campaign. Now it's time for us to choose a strategy. Yandex.Direct offers several strategies for display campaigns. The first choice is a manual strategy, which gives you full control over your campaign and allows you to set your own bids for different keywords and display conditions in your ad campaign. You can set a daily budget limit and a display mode, just like you do in a regular campaign in Yandex.Direct, standard or distributed. In standard mode, impressions take place without lengthy stops all day or during the hours set in the campaign's time targeting. To avoid stopping the campaign when funds run out, Yandex.Direct can switch to budget optimization mode. Each specific user query is analyzed, and Yandex.Direct decides whether the ad participates in the auction. In distributed mode, the budget stretches to cover the whole day or the entire period you select in your time targeting settings. If the daily budget is insufficient for continuous impressions, the ads will stop appearing periodically, and the interface will show a warning below the ad that impressions have stopped. Now let's look at the two automatic strategies available. First, decrease price for repeat impressions. This strategy allows you to get the maximum number of impressions over a certain period of time, while also lowering the amount spent for each successive impression to users who have already seen your ad. This strategy prioritizes impressions for new users while achieving the minimum CPM possible without exceeding the limit you set. You can either set this strategy for a week or choose a custom time period from 1 to 90 days. Please note that the period must be entered in the campaign's time targeting settings. You can set a budget for the given period or enable automatically extend period, which extends the time period in order to spend the remaining budget as effectively as possible. Your campaign's active period will either extend to the end of the ad campaign or continue until the budget runs out. You should set the maximum average CPM down below. The color scale can give you an idea of what CPM to set. Bids in the green range will guarantee the widest possible reach, whereas the bids in yellow or red will get you reach either equal to or below those of your competitors. If you instead decide to set this strategy for a week, the settings will be fewer, just your budget and the maximum average CPM. The second automatic strategy available is maximize impressions for lowest price, which aims to get the maximum number of impressions while distributing your budget over the time period you set. The average weekly CPM will not exceed the limit you set. Now we'll choose a manual strategy in standard mode. Down below, you can set the frequency with which an individual user can see your ad. You can set the maximum number of times a user can see your ad over a certain period, no more than 30 days, or over the entire period of your campaign. Our standard recommendation would be no more than 3 impressions per week per user. Next up, we see a setting that will suspend your campaigns anytime your site is down. Yandex.Direct checks your site regularly, and if your home page is unavailable, impressions will stop so that you don't have users clicking on your ad who are then unable to access your site. Let's save these settings and move on to the Yandex Metrica section. Don't forget to enter the number of your Yandex Metrica tag in the special field after clicking the Add button. This is the only way to collect the most complete and precise statistics for Yandex.Direct and for link tagging in Yandex Metrica as well. You can also enable OpenStat tagging to track the results of campaigns in Yandex.Direct using external statistics systems like OpenStat and Live Internet. The next block is where you can list sites in the Yandex advertising network on which you do not want your banners to appear. We do not recommend doing so, as this narrows your campaign's reach. Let's leave this field empty. Moving on, you can set up email or SMS message notifications for your campaign. You can get notifications sent to your email inbox about reports that are ready or about campaigns that have stopped after spending their daily budget. You can add several addresses if you'd like. SMS message notifications can tell you about campaign stops, moderation results, and site monitoring. To avoid unwanted messages at certain hours, you can set a time range in which notifications can be sent. Now we move on to special settings. You can set the number of ad groups on the campaign page, 20 by default. If you have a lot of ads in your campaign, lowering this number can increase the load speed of this page in the interface. Other options include banning certain IP addresses and adding campaigns to a list of the most important ones to make it easier to find them later. Once we save our settings, we can move on to creating an ad group. Let's add a name for the ad group. Then we add a banner by clicking the Add button. There are 2 options how to add a banner. 1. Using Ad Builder, or 2. Uploading an existing creative. This is the same ad builder used for image ads in Yandex.Direct. You can either start from scratch and create your own creative in several different formats, or select from those banners you have already uploaded. Please note that in contrast with image ads, display campaigns permit the use of HTML5 banners. Let's look at how to create a banner in Ad Builder. Click Add and then select Create New from Template. We select a template and start filling it in. The background image, we can choose from our own files, upload from a link, choose from our library, or select from ones that we've already uploaded. Let's select one from our library. After that, we choose the colors for the background and the border. Add our text and choose the text's color. Then you do the same for the text of your button. Next, you can choose the tint of the background image to make the text above more legible. Then you can upload your logo if you have one. Again, you can choose a file from your computer, upload one using a link, or choose from logos you previously uploaded. Next, you'll need to add the domain and select a color. Pay special attention to the warnings and age restrictions. Depending on the products or services being advertised, you may be required to place warnings in your ads, for example, informational resources or baby food. We have posted links below this video with information to help you determine whether you need to add warnings, and if so, which ones. The last setting here is information about the advertiser. Depending on your type of business, you will have to indicate information about your company, for example, its legal name or contact details. To the left, you can see the formats you want to add. Check to see how your creative will look in different formats and disable the ones that you don't like. To maximize your audience coverage, we recommend leaving as many formats as possible active. After these settings, click Create. Then you tick off the banner packages you want to add. Yandex.Direct will suggest that you enter the domain for all the banners. We'll enter our domain once to save time later. The interface will show all of the uploaded banners separately. You can also assign users who have seen your ads to a separate group using a Yandex Audience pixel. Down below, there is a special field to add a pixel and use this group for retargeting. Retargeting allows you to show an ad made specifically for users who already visited your site or saw your banner. For example, if you assign a pixel for users who saw banners advertising a clothing sale in your online store, the pixel will gather these users in one group that you can then retarget with special reminders about your sale or increased discounts. The field below is where you can add a third-party counter if needed, but only AdFox or TNS. Please note that all Yandex banners must meet the Yandex requirements. You can quickly check what these requirements are by clicking on the question mark located next to the Add button. You can also read these requirements by clicking on the link in the description below this video. Here are some of the main rules. The banner must not exceed the proportions or file size indicated. All text, excluding the trademark, must be legibly written in Russian. The banner's text must clearly state what you are advertising. The background must not be transparent, and the banner must have a visible frame or border of a contrasting color. You can add up to 50 ads to a group and set a region for each of them. Now let's switch to the impression criteria. You have two options to choose from: impressions based on a user profile or by keywords. The user profile is a combination of characteristics of those users we want to show our ads to. For example, gender, age, or their interests when surfing the internet. Based on the data you choose, you can define the portrait of your desired audience. The first section is for the socio-demographic profile: age, gender, income level. For our example, let's select men from 25 to 44 years of age with average and high incomes. On the right, you can see how the different parameters you set affect your reach. On the right, there's the total number of users. This value depends on the number of regions selected, the size of your banners, and the number of sites you block. To the left, you can see the number of users that fit your profile description. Next, you have the option to specify a user's marital status and profession, but we'll skip this step. Now let's look at interests. You can choose from two types of interests: long-term interests, if they have demonstrated continuous interest over time, or short-term, lasting for a few days, or both. Short-term interests are updated in real time, whereas long-term ones are updated once daily. Using the button on the right, we select the business long-term interest. Choosing several different interests for this setting will tell the system to consider them on the OR principle. In the section below, you can add another group of interests by clicking on Add Another Set. Then, two different sets will be considered on the AND principle. After setting up interests, you can add user groups based on data from Yandex Metrica and Yandex Audience. Let's take a more detailed look at this now. We mentioned earlier that you could install a pixel in your ad and then use it to target users who have already seen it. There are a few other options how you can use a pixel. You can create a segment in Yandex Metrica and gather users that visited your site, added items to their cart, but did not complete the purchase. You can then remind these users about the items in their cart. In Yandex Audience, you can likewise upload your current clients, their email addresses, phone numbers, or mobile device IDs, and show them special ads aimed at loyal customers. Remember, you can target your ads for segments from Yandex Metrica and Yandex Audience without adding any other conditions in the user profile, but only if at least one fulfilled or all fulfilled is selected. You can not only target users that did not fulfill some sort of goal. You can combine several rules, up to 50 of them, with the AND principle. Keep in mind that the more rules you set, the lower your reach will be. The second type of targeting you can use are keywords. Keywords will determine the site content and audience data that can trigger your ad to display in the Yandex advertising network. For example, an ad about contextual advertising might be displayed on a page about advertising or shown to a user who is interested in launching CPC campaigns. When entering keywords, you can also use bid adjustments, just like you do in regular Yandex.Direct campaigns. The last thing we should do on this page is set a bid for the selected user category. You can also add labels to campaigns to make them easier to sort. After all these settings, you can click Save, and you will be taken to the page where you can add more groups or send your current ones for moderation. You cannot launch your campaigns and begin impressions without the approval of our moderators. Click the Send for Moderation button. You will be asked to read and confirm your agreement with the Yandex advertising placement rules, after which you should click Accept and Order, and the campaign will be sent for moderation. A link will appear for you to return to your campaign, which you can click if you want to return and create another ad group. Moderation can take up to 3 hours, after which you will receive a notification via email about the results. If your ads did not pass moderation, they will move to the separate tab marked Rejected. If the reason is unclear from the comments offered, please contact your personal manager if you have one, or send a message to client-service@yandex-team.ru, and one of our managers will help you figure out what needs to be changed. Before your campaign can launch, you need to make a payment. We have a separate video where we explain the payment process. You can find a link to that video in the description below this one. Once ads in your campaign begin impressions, you can look at reports about the campaign's performance. To see them, click the View Statistics button on the campaign page. Checking these statistics regularly will give you an idea of how well your ads attract users. To get more detailed statistics for your campaign and assess the effectiveness of specific keywords or ads, use Report Wizard. Set up display campaigns in Yandex.Direct to visually tell about your products and services to users likely to be interested in them, inform them about your company, and increase brand awareness.